One candidate, Governor Haley, said she certainly would not be getting behind is Donald Trump, who stumped Wednesday in Sumter, South Carolina. But it seems the majority of her constituents are. In the latest poll, out of likely South Carolina voters, Trump leads with 35% support, followed by Ted Cruz with 19% and Rubio with 17%. Major Garrett has more.
Donald, I would encourage you, if you want to file a lawsuit challenging this ad, claiming it is defamation, file the lawsuit.
Ted Cruz today scoffed at Donald Trump for threatening to sue over this ad from the Cruz campaign.
I am pro-choice in every respect.
Mr. Trump has sent me a legal cease and desist letter saying, stop telling the voters my record. Now, that is objectively legally frivolous.
Trump fired back, calling Cruz desperate. I am pro-life and I do not support taxpayer funding for Planned Parenthood as long as they are performing abortions, the GOP frontrunner said in a statement. Trump has called Cruz a liar all week. He's also threatened to sue Cruz over his eligibility to run for president, given his Canadian birth. On another legal issue, Trump said today he would defy Geneva Convention prohibitions and use torture to fight terrorism.
Torture works, okay, folks? Torture, have these guys. Torture doesn't work. Believe me, it works, okay? What do you think of waterboarding? Absolutely fine. But we should go much stronger than waterboarding.
Marco Rubio, currently polling behind Trump and Cruz, today won the coveted endorsement of South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley.
If we elect Marco Rubio, every day will be a great day in America.
It was another blow to Jeb Bush, whose brother, former President George W. Bush, met privately with Haley on Monday.
Major is in Walterboro, South Carolina. Major, what impact can Nikki Haley's endorsement have?
It certainly doesn't hurt, and it gives Marco Rubio something he wants, which is more publicity about momentum for his campaign here in South Carolina. Rubio is still running in third, getting a little bit closer to Ted Cruz, who's closing the distance a tiny bit against Donald Trump. But Donald Trump is still the undisputed frontrunner here in South Carolina, and most Republicans I talk to connected to or independent of campaigns expect him to win on Saturday. But Nikki Haley does do something for Marco Rubio that she is obviously not doing for Jeb Bush, offering her endorsement. Jeb Bush hoped that he might win that endorsement, but he did not. It's another disappointment for the Bush campaign here in South Carolina. And for Rubio, it is a part of a piece here in South Carolina because now he has the support of the three most popular Republicans in the state: Trey Gowdy from the House, Tim Scott from the Senate, and Nikki Haley, the sitting governor. All that may not propel him into second place, but it does give him momentum and much-needed media coverage.
So given what you just said, Major, does the Republican establishment view Marco Rubio as the best chance to defeat Donald Trump and Ted Cruz?
That's a fascinating question because there is a different story in South Carolina than has historically been told about the Republican establishment. Historically, the Republican establishment, dating back to George Herbert Walker Bush and his victory here in 1988, has been defined largely, though not exclusively, by the Bush family. There is a different establishment in Republican politics in South Carolina now. It is a Tea Party-inspired establishment, if you will. Trey Gowdy elected in the midterm elections of 2010. Nikki Haley elected in the same elections, 2010. Tim Scott, appointed to the Senate in 2012, ran to fill out the remaining 2 years of Jim DeMint's term in 2014. They are part of a newer generation of conservatives and Republicans in South Carolina, and that new generation, the new establishment, if you will, is lining up with Marco Rubio. So at that level, it tells you where the new sort of Tea Party-inspired establishment, at least in South Carolina, has landed, and it's squarely with Rubio.
Wow, fascinating development. Let's talk about Jeb Bush. How big of a blow is it to him not getting Governor Haley's endorsement?
Well, look, everything that the Bush campaign would like to develop here in South Carolina would help, meaning if you court Nikki Haley, which there was a little bit of courtship here on Monday when former President George W. Bush met privately with her. But look, the Bush campaign is relying on that old loyalty, the sort of royalty from a bygone era of South Carolina Republican politics, and it's finding it's tough going. Jeb Bush simply hasn't caught on here, doesn't have the traction that he thought he might have. A couple of polls have him in the high single digits, low double digits, but a great distance away from Trump and even trailing Cruz and Rubio. And if Rubio beats Bush here, then Bush will have an even harder time getting to Florida and saying, I'm a credible challenger to either Rubio, Cruz, or Trump. And if things really go south here in South Carolina, and John Kasich, who had a much lower profile here just a week ago, but developed one after finishing a surprising second in New Hampshire, if Kasich were to somehow pass Bush, then things would really be in difficult straits for the Bush campaign. But we have talked to many Bush donors, committed to the cause, who say they are going to stick with Jeb Bush no matter the results here in South Carolina. But I will tell you, Elaine, if Bush underperforms here, those conversations about sticking with Bush and believing him until the end may be a little tougher to carry out.
Yeah, absolutely. As you pointed out, Major, earlier, Donald Trump and Ted Cruz continue their escalating feud, with Trump threatening to sue Cruz and Cruz responding by daring Donald Trump to bring it, essentially. Now, this comes as a new poll shows Donald Trump falling behind Cruz nationally. This is the first time since July that Trump is not polling in first. What does that mean?
We don't know what it means, and I really mean that. We don't know what it means. It is one poll done by very experienced, very capable pollsters, Wall Street Journal, NBC poll. It is one of the benchmark polls anyone in American politics takes a long and hard look at. But one of the things that the pollsters admitted is that they changed the composition of those they were surveying on the Republican side, went to a much more conservative composition within the polling subset of Republicans than they had previously. If they'd used the old model, the ones they'd used earlier this campaign season, the numbers would have been 26 for Trump, 23 for Cruz, certainly closer, but still Trump in a small lead. Under this scenario, with much more very conservative Republicans added to the mix, Cruz jumps ahead. And as the pollsters themselves said, we do not know if this is a trend or simply a pause or possibly a statistical aberration. What I would say is you look at this poll, take it seriously because serious people conducted it, but wait for more polling data at the national level to either indicate the same kind of trend line, meaning Trump falling and Cruz rising, or if you don't see that, consider this to be somewhat of a statistical anomaly, which happens in survey research. It is far from a perfect science, and pollsters who are credible and professional about their tradecraft will admit that any day of the week.
Yeah, I'm sure the campaigns are waiting for more polls to come out with bated breath. Major Garrett, thank you so much.